turnover's dropping, as you've shared. There's a cyclical, quite a hard downturn in the industry. And I'm not making any money. What are we doing about that? We went through a process of saying we need to set a budget for your business. We need to look what the revenue and gross margin looks like. We need to see then what we can afford. And we made a strategy for him to exit his office, for him to get back in site-based roles where previously he might have subcontracted certain work. He needs to do that himself. So the process of going through a down cycle in the industry, can be managed if you're responsive to what's going on. Drop your overheads in parallel with your turnover going down. If your margin has to reduce because of what the market's allowing you, the right price is always the maximum the market will bear. The right price is the maximum the market can bear. So if the market won't bear the same margin you might have had 5 years ago, you need to drop your overheads accordingly. You can still have a profitable business if you're responsive. And so, of course, you need to step up as a leader of your business and make the changes that need to happen. Now, I'd like to spend some time talking about marketing and sales because it's, I guess when we talk about business improvement, marketing will often solve many things. If you can market yourself well and create this overflowing pipeline of work, then you can choose the work you do and refer the other work on to others. Now, if you're just having to pick the scrape for work, in other words, take whatever work comes in because you need the next check for the turnover, then that puts you in a very vulnerable position as a business owner. So often, marketing correctly will fix a lot of things. Now, we could talk about a lot of things today, and we will, but we're going to start with marketing because marketing is often the key to unlock a lot of opportunity. If you market yourself well, you've got choices. Choices are critical. You want to choose the high margin work and let the other stuff go, and marketing will give you that opportunity. Remember, we also said this morning, it's what you focus on and what you get your team to focus on that'll lead you in a certain direction. So I'm hoping you get clarity of focus today and learn to focus on some different things. I want to illustrate what we spoke about this morning, this idea of seeing things that maybe were already there with this illustration here. So if you can just participate in this, and we'll
the monkey business.
We'll learn some things.
Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
Please do this counting process.
Passes.
Who got 16?
Did you spot the gorilla?
I did.
For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla.
Who missed the gorilla? Yep.
If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color for the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events. And that's the monkey business illusion.
Learn
more about this illusion.
A very famous video, but I share it and reshare it because you all think I'm an idiot when I say this morning there's things going on in your life that you're not seeing as business owners, and it's because you haven't got clarity of focus on a goal. There is always things in your life that are right there and you don't see them. It's just impossible to see everything. And I hope that's reinforced what I've said is true. Get clarity of vision and purpose, and you'll see things that are already in your world to take you in that direction. Now, these two men on the screen, Does anyone know these guys? Turn that off so you can get a good look at them. Anyone know? Two bricklayers. The guy on the bottom. Well, let's start with the guy on the top. His name's Wayne. Did bricklaying on my sites for many years in northern New South Wales. Good, honest Aussie bricklayer. The guy on the bottom, Dale Alcock, the largest residential builder in Australia most years by any measure. So Dale Alcock Homes, a Western Australian builder, has subsidiaries in Victoria, number of different brands. His primary brand is Dale Alcock Homes. Has anyone heard of that brand? So when they track nationally the volumes, Dale's always in the top 3. Now let's look at the commonality with these two blokes. When I talk about this, I want you to hear me right. There's no right and wrong. It's choices, okay? Both of them have made a choice in their career. Both of them achieved different outcomes. So let's look at what they've got in common. They're both bricklayers. They're both Australian bricklayers. They're both working in the same market, essentially, the Australian building industry that we're all working in. They both have the same skill set, started in the industry as bricklayers. And they're both good guys by any measure. I've been in Dale's office, had a conversation with him. He's very involved in the HIA. A good guy, I think. Same with Wayne. Seen him on my sites. He's also a good guy. Made the choices he's made, but he's happy with doing what he does, which is lay bricks. So let's talk about the commonality. Is they're about the same age, same trade, same industry, same time. What's the difference between these two men, and the difference that has led to the different opportunity and outcomes in their careers? What is the one difference that we can identify without knowing them personally? Does anyone know what the one difference is? Yes. So there's a spectrum, okay? There's a spectrum. Most of us start in this industry as a trade base. Both of these guys started in the industry as tradesmen. And then there's business ownership. Do you understand that they're either end of the spectrum? I show these guys because that's about as far apart on that spectrum as I can evidence. The largest residential builder in Australia is a bricklayer. And then there's Wayne, who I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Wayne's choice, I'm just saying it's different. It's the same for every one of you. You need to decide where on this spectrum you're going to play. If you master your trade, I hope by now everyone in this room has mastered their trade. We all have to start there. That's great, that's important. We need to be good at what we do as a trade, in a trade-based business. But it's how far you get along this spectrum that'll determine what opportunities open up to you as a business owner, and I'm talking financial opportunities. Do you think Dale's had financial opportunities that Wayne has never had? Of course he has. And it's a choice that he made. At some point he said, I'm going to put my days as a tradesman behind me, and I'm going to recognise now that I am a business owner. And I have to get better as a business owner and forget about getting better as a tradesman, because now as a business owner I employ tradesmen. And some of you might need to make that mental shift and say, okay, if I want that journey of business improvement, I need to recognise I'm no longer a tradesman, I'm now a business owner, solely a business owner. I need to focus my energies there. So that process of reading and learning we've talked about is the way to do that. You need to do an apprenticeship in business ownership and then master it. So to open up your thinking more, because I want to focus you on the key areas that you need to improve on, we're going to do the profit and cash flow wheel. It's in the book. Has anyone done this before? We're going to do a let's call it a check of where you're at the moment. Now the 10 things on there are the 10 essentials of business ownership. And what's it say at the bottom of the page? Someone read it out to me. People will pay you in direct proportion to the amount of confidence they have in you. So if we draw that on a graph, we've got pay scale on one side and confidence on the other side. if I would like to make more money in this industry, what do I need to do? I need to make people more confident in my product, in my solution. So if people aren't confident with you, they won't pay you much. So if you're fighting over price every quote you do, it's because you haven't done enough to build confidence in your product. And as confidence grows, so does your pay rate. So if you say, Glenn, I'm not earning as much as I'd like right now, it's because no one's confident enough in your solution. And of course, if you can build confidence, then your pay scale goes up with it. Alright, so let's do the exercise together. What I want you to do is score yourself. Just write on the page, give yourself a score between 0 and 10 for each of these areas of your business. Give yourself a 0 if you're abominable at that thing, you can't imagine doing it any worse, you've never thought about it, and it's just a disaster. And give yourself a 10 out of 10 if you're crushing it and you don't need to give any headspace to that part of your business right now. So the first one is strategy. Strategy is the organisation of resources to produce a consistent result. The organisation of resources to produce a consistent result. Strategy is the how-to of your goal. Once you've worked out what your goal is, then you can say, this is the how-to. And sometimes there's a little bit of confusion between strategy and goals, but if you can define how I'm using my resources to achieve my goal, that is your business strategy. If you've never thought about strategy, you have no idea what that means, and you don't really want to know, give yourself a 0. But if you feel like you could articulate your strategy and your staff and your team members know what the strategy is, then give yourself a higher score. Strategy. Let's move to, just before we move on from strategy, I can tell you that every Army general or winner in sporting teams has a strategy. Every one of them does. There's no, if you said, what's the strategy to win this game or win the grand final, they can define it. So if you're thinking, I don't need a business strategy, I'm just doing what I need to do, that's fine, but it depends what level you want to play the game at. If you want to win the grand final or win the war, you will have a strategy. Let's move on to number 2, marketing. Now, marketing, you need to think of marketing as a magnet that is drawing the iron filings out of the market, out of the marketplace to your business. So there's AAA grade clients. Let me put it another way. If your marketing is attracting AAA grade clients to your business, then give yourself a 10 out of 10. And if your marketing is attracting the wood chips instead of the iron filings, give yourself a lesser score. So when I say AAA grade clients, what's a AAA grade client? Let me redefine this. Because this is the measure I need you to score yourself on whether your marketing's working. A AAA grade client is someone that doesn't push back on price. Has anyone seen a client like this? They do exist. Doesn't push back on price. Is a pleasure to do business with. Has anyone seen a client like that? I'm just questioning this because some of you might think this is a unicorn. It doesn't exist. Pleasure to do business with. And then, thirdly, refers you to people like themselves. That is the definition of a AAA grade client. Is that fair to say? If your marketing is drawing people to your business that are like that, give yourself a 10 out of 10. If, however, if your marketing is the magnet and these AAA grade clients are the iron filings, if your marketing's only drawing the wood chips to you, then you need to give yourself a lesser score. And there's some work to be done in your marketing. We're going to push on into that subject, of course. The next one is capital. Now, capital, the measure of capital is that you have the capacity to make choices for your business that don't revolve around being desperate for the next check, the next cash flow, the next progress payment. If you're living progress payment to progress payment, you need to give yourself a low score for capital. If on the other hand you have room to endure a downturn in the industry, you have room to buy that next tool or that next motor vehicle or to expand to take on the next contract, and you capital's not the thing that's constraining you, then give yourself a higher score. And I think we can all be pretty easily rate ourselves on that one there. Sales is really twofold, how to score yourself on sales. Sales is, the first measure is, do I have a system for my sales? In other words, when my marketing draws a AAA grade client, what happens then? Is that process systemized? And there's a six-step sales system outlined in the first chapter of my book here, and I'm hoping to have time to run through that with you today. But you need a sales system. And secondly, you're just measuring your conversion rate. So if my marketing draws 10 leads to me this month, how many of those can I convert to jobs? So am I converting 50%, 20%, 80%? Then that's a good measure of how to rate your success in the sales environment. So please give yourself a score for that one. Delivery is how well you do your job. So do I have high maintenance or low maintenance? Do I deliver on time and on budget? Am I good at my niche in the industry? Or in fact, am I getting a lot of maintenance issues, we're always running late, job costs are blowing out? Then you would need to give yourself a lower score on delivery. But hopefully you've got that sorted out and you can give yourself a higher score. Please give yourself a realistic score for that. What this process is doing is helping you know where you need to focus your energy as a business owner right now. Admin is your office. So many builders detest admin. They don't like their office and they don't know how it works, and they leave that to someone else. That's likely you need to give yourself a low score for admin. But if your office and your site-based roles communicate well, if there's processes in place in your office, if your office is a pleasure to be in, ideally your office is pushing towards a paperless type environment where the only paper might be the plans you take to site to help work out what you're building, but certainly your invoicing, your drawings, your contracts are in a paperless environment. That's a 10 out of 10 office environment. Job management system, if you're operating a job management system that allows all your staff to access to data wherever they are, again, that would be an essential element of a 10 out of 10 business. Who's got a job management system in place? 1, 2, 3, yeah, great. Very important, have a job management system if you want to scale your business. If you want to get paperless, systemized, very, very important. The next one, finance. Now finance, the way to think about finance is if you can answer a couple of questions. When I say finance, I'm talking about financial data. My time at university, I graduated with an accounting degree and I worked as an accountant for a total of 6 weeks. So I can't stand in front of you to say I'm an accountant, but I've certainly trained as an accountant. And we need to know what our break-even point is if we're going to give ourselves a 10 out of 10 for finance. So if you can't tell me what your break-even point for your business is, no 10 out of 10s. But the other essential is you can track job by job profitability. Who can track job by job profitability here? Yeah, great. So very, very important, and you're heading in the direction of financial clarity. So I say the 3 things every business now owner needs is a budget, you need job by job profitability, and you need to know your break-even point at any time. Second tier to that is cash flow reports, which are a help to many business owners. But I wouldn't say cash flow reports are in the top 3, particularly if your business is well capitalised. Then certainly if things are tight with capital, you want to be looking at cash flow forecasting. But 10 out of 10 if you've got a budget, a break-even point, and job by job profitability processes in place. Systems. Now systems, if you've got good operating systems, You're going to have an operations manual for the business, and if I said to you right now, after this session, I'm off to Bali for a month, please come and join me, and you're like, Glenn, that's a great idea, I'd love to have a month off, it's too cold here in Adelaide right now. I'm going to ring my office manager or my supervisor, tell them I'm away, and you can go and have that month off with very little impact to your business, then you've got a 10 out of 10 systemised business. A business that's ready to franchise, ready to open a second office. You can take that step quite comfortably. Whereas if you're saying, Glenn, I can't do that because my system is up here, if I'm not there, no one knows what to do, then you need to give yourself a 0 for systems and start to focus some energy on putting systems in place for your business. The last two, team and leadership, are very tied together, of course. So when you think about your team, if you cleared the decks right now or fired everyone on paper and then said, who are we re-employing tomorrow? If you were prepared to re-employ everyone, then you can say, I've got a 10 out of 10 team. The other thing you would think though is everyone got role clarity? In other words, they understand why I've employed them and exactly what they need to do and achieve each day. And we have some measurement in place for that, like KPIs. So if your staff have got, if in fact you would re-employ everyone, and they have role clarity, and they have a way to measure the performance of their role, then you have a 10 out of 10 team. And finally, leadership, and we've started to touch on this idea of leadership. But if you're in the engine room and no one's steering the ship, then you need to give yourself a lower score for leadership. Now, every business needs a leader, and I think as business owners, we forget that we are the leader, and people need to dance to our tune, they need to step up to our level, and we need to become the captain of the ship and steer it in the direction we want to go. So if in fact you are doing that, you're investing in your own leadership skills regularly, then please give yourself a high score. But if leadership hasn't been on your radar and you haven't recognised yourself for what you are, the leader of your business, then you might need to give yourself a lower score. Now, who's got a wobbly wheel? Anyone got a wobbly wheel? Look, the beauty of a wobbly wheel is you can just focus in on the low scores and get some upside quickly in your business by fixing those things. And believe me, there's readily available fixes for every one of those low scores. So I'm hoping again that gives you clarity of focus. Has anyone got a low score for marketing? We're not attracting enough of these AAA grade clients, yeah? Any other low scores for marketing? I'm hoping what we talk about now with marketing will be a help to you. What I've got on screen here now is research from Harvard Business School that talks about the percentage of founders who say that a high or very high priority should be given to these things. So that profit and cash flow wheel I've shown you, it's not a figment of my imagination. These founders of large multinational businesses, they say that your team should be 88%. A high priority should be given to that. 88% of these founders say that. So team and leadership is right up there. Your product, of course, needs to be up there. Your sales and marketing processes, your strategy, your finance. So you can see this is, again, not unique to us in the sort of things a successful business owner is focusing on. Now, the trouble with most marketing and many businesses is we've got a fire hose going at the market instead of a blowtorch. In other words, the key to starting a successful marketing process is to define a niche. Now, we'll talk about this a little bit. Let's say the marketplace is a mountain of opportunity, which of course it is. Every business owner needs to find a little vein of gold and mine it. And I always think in terms of abundance. There's an abundance of opportunity out there. There's not a lack, there's abundance, and we need to find the abundance and mine it. Now, who's ever seen an advertisement that says, no job too big or small, we do it all? Do you see that going on in this industry? Now I feel like vomiting in my mouth a little bit when I see that, because that is a recipe for a failed business. We need to be business owners that are prepared to say no to some things, and so we can focus. We need to have blowtorch-like focus on some part of this industry that we specialise in. We need to be the master of something. We need to be the specialist. We need to be that business owner that people go to for that solution because we own that space. Now, this is more easy to apply in bigger markets, and for some of my clients that are in very small regional places, their specialty actually becomes their location. So it doesn't so much become their trade specialty, it becomes, we are the go-to person in this location for trade and building work. We have mastered this region. In the larger metro areas, you need to say, I can't do that. I can't specialise in being Adelaide's everything. I need to find a section of the market that I become the specialist in. Now, to illustrate this a bit further, collusion would be a wonderful thing for this industry, don't you think? Collusion would be... I'm pleased to see you agree with me. If I could go around this room and say, okay, you're going to be the specialist in high-end residential, and you guys are going to look after high-rise work, and you're going to do all the project homes in the area, and you're going to do all the high-end renos, and you're going to do the steep and difficult science, and you're going to do all the architectural work, and you're going to do all the what have we got left? Let's say the trade-based work. So if we could do that, what would it do for our ability to increase our margins? All our clients are AAA grade because they can't push back on price. If they want that solution, we're the ones that do it. I can't say they're all going to be a pleasure to deal with, but what I can say is often we are our own worst enemies because we haven't found something to specialise in. We just say yes to everything, and our marketing becomes very confused as a result. So we're going to talk this through a little more and see where it leads us. You have to learn to say no if you're going to do marketing well. And what am I going to say no to if I'm going to develop a niche? What I'm going to say no to is things that aren't in the niche that I'm targeting. Now you need to be careful with the timing on this. If you're new to this whole business development journey and you say, well Glenn, I haven't got a niche, I've never thought of a niche, I'm a do-all trade-based business. You don't change things overnight. What you do is you gradually get clarity of focus and choose a niche that you're going to pursue, and over time you start to say no to those other things and you focus your marketing efforts on that niche. That doesn't mean you turn away other work in the process if you need work to keep cash flow going, but over time you swing and align everything in the pursuit of that niche. How do you choose a niche?
What I enjoy doing?
Yes, but I'm a business coach, not a life coach, so I'm going to say no. I don't really care whether you enjoy it or not.
How do you proven success? So if you look back at the jobs that you've done, what are the jobs that have given you the highest turnover?
Yes, highest margin.
Highest
Margin / profit. This is why I said to you when we were talking on the profit and cash flow wheel, can you measure your job by job profitability? What you need to do is find your vein of gold. You need to find the jobs that you uniquely do that are profitable and do more of them. Can you see what that will do for your business over time? Over time, you start saying no to the things that you know have not been historically profitable, and you swing your marketing to say, I am the specialist at that thing. Now, the reason you might find that there's opportunity there is there's a whole range of reasons. One could be where you live. There's a need for that solution where you live. It might be that you're uniquely skilled or enjoy that thing. That might actually make it more profitable because you enjoy doing it. Thirdly, it may be that there's some unique skill or trade or tool or process that you have access to, that you've imported or created, that makes you uniquely profitable in that thing. I don't care what the reason is that that's more profitable, but that opportunity will emerge. Now for me, the thing that was uniquely profitable for me was actually middle of the market project homes were the most uniquely profitable thing I was doing in my market at the time. So I've since fully franchised my business. But I found if I did that middle of the market project home, so not the high-end architectural and not the entry level, but if I did that roughly middle of the market, I could turn them over quickly, they were quite profitable, and so I focused my marketing there. For many of you, it will not be that. The reason I could do that was because I had created very good buying power over time that allowed me to be quite competitive in that space. In other words, I bought consistently the same types of products. I'd driven my purchasing down over time. So as soon as I stepped to high-end architectural, I couldn't always buy at a competitive advantage to my competitors. So I was having trouble achieving the margins with the high-end architectural. In the real low end, I had too much, I found the clients quite challenging. So the middle of the market was the sweet spot for me, and I directed all my energies for there. Every one of you will be quite different. The point is, you need to move away from competing with your competitors on price and find a niche, a vein of gold, and mine it. For many of you, you won't know what that is today in this room. But I want you to think, do you know anyone in the industry that has found their vein of gold and is mining it? Do you know anyone like this? Is this a 4-minute mile that no one's ever done? Who knows someone like this? I speak to them because of the type of work I do. I'll give you some examples. Is there no one in Adelaide that's doing this? All right, I'll give you some examples. I spoke to a business owner recently who has imported a unique technology to repair chips in high-grade products. So a chip in a bench top, or a chip in expensive tiles, or damage like that might cost thousands of dollars to repair. He has imported a solution to repair that in situ. Now he's the only guy in Australia that's imported this product from Germany, and if I built a place and it's damaged, which is regularly, we see that, he's the go-to guy for that. He has no competitors, and he sets his own price and his own terms. So if you want that repaired, he says, this is how we do business. If you want the job done, you do it. This is what we charge, this is how it'll work, and the builders and homeowners just say, yes. He says jump and they say how wide. He has the market cornered. Other builders I'm seeing that have the market cornered is a builder in Gloucester, in regional New South Wales. He's the second generation builder in that community. He knows everyone in town, he knows every tradesman in town, he runs a very tight ship, he has the market completely cornered. If anyone calls him for work, he says, I'm available in 6 months' time, and this is how we'll do business. There's no negotiation on price. If you want the guy, you pay the price. I'm hoping this sort of thinking has you thinking about someone else that you know that has achieved this. But what I'm saying to you is it's possible to achieve it. You need to get your thinking right and think, what is my niche? What is my vein of gold? What is my high dollar work? I'm going to focus my marketing towards that. And learn to say no to the things that you cannot specialise in. Remember, the money's in the margin, not in the turnover. So don't take on work just because it's work and you think the turnover is great for your business. The turnover could bring you undone. Because if the margin's low, turnover's growing, it's a fast track to going broke. And that's what Stephen was sharing earlier about what's been happening here in Adelaide by the sound of it. Now, once you've found a niche, and again, I'm not suggesting that's easy. I'm saying that's possible, and you need to start thinking about that. Let your subconscious find it in line with the finding the high margin work that you do. You need to establish your authority in that space. Remember, authority. People will pay you in direct proportion to the amount of confidence in you. So, my friend in Gloucester in New South Wales, who's a client of mine. Why do people pay him whatever he asks? Because they have enormous confidence in him. He's the only guy that they would use in that area. So he has mastered that location, shall we say. So how do I establish my authority? We're going to write a list, a real list here that we can put an action plan around and create some 1%ers to do next week. Who knows how to establish authority in this industry right now? Anyone got any ideas? What can you do to build your credibility? We're just going to narrow it down to 4 real action plans. I said to you, I'm going to give you the hinges that swing the big doors.
Building a referral base.
Yeah, well, I think that will work, but I'm not going to put it in the top 4. But I think this process will do that. Has anyone got any other ideas? I'll get you started. You need to win awards in your niche. Who here is an award-winning trade-based business for a niche? Thank you, my friend. Well, Shane, what did you win an award in, mate?
Custom builder, country builder,
Yep. Perfect. HIA?
yes, and also renovations, multiple.
Great. So who's got entries in the HIA awards this year? Well done. You will win. Because HIA set the process up so that their members win things. Now, I'm not saying you'll win this year, I haven't got insight to that. But I'm saying in time you will win awards if you enter them. Because HIA wants you to win. Because they want to differentiate you from the rest of the market. HIA don't put on awards to feather their own nest. They put on awards to help their builders, differentiate their builders, differentiate their business, create confidence so that your business can improve. Awards will do that. You know what awards do to the HIA? Tie up volunteers that have got to run all around the countryside looking at jobs that are not theirs, they're just volunteering. The staff here have got to put on awards nights, and it fills up their time with putting that together. And the whole undertaking is a significant and costly exercise for the HIA. They do it though solely for this reason. We need to build confidence in our members. I want every one of you to enter the awards in the area of your niche that you want to specialise in and win them. And when I say you will win, is that how many times have you entered, Shane? 5 times. And how many times did you win?
4.
Yeah, okay. So you've been very successful in that space. And it is likely that you'll get some categories you get many entries, some categories they get 1 entry. They won't say how many entries they've got because it's meaningless. If you're the sole entry, you will win the award. The market doesn't care. For the rest of your business career, you are a HIA award winner. They will even give you a plaque for being the finalist. They will even give you a plaque for entering over time. Because they want you to go away and be a HIA award winner. So it's very important. If you haven't done it, it's not, HIA aren't doing it to help themselves, they're doing it to help you, and I encourage you to do it. Please enter awards. If there's not an award category that suits you, you'll often find in your area or your region that you can enter business awards in your own community. So is there business awards in the areas that you live that are not, they're not niches, they're successful businesses? You have that?
Yeah, we got runner-up for Fast Movers Awards, which
Right.
is growth for 3 consecutive years.
Yeah.
And that was a South Australian award
Right.
that was through BDO.
So on your email signature, on your marketing, everything you touch, you're referencing that you're an award winner. It's building confidence. If I've got 2 quotes in front of me, and yours is more expensive, but I can see you're a multi-award winner in that space, I will still likely choose you when price is a lesser consideration. That is the reality. Now, let's take this one step further. If I can't find a way to enter awards, but I still want to win or I want to develop credibility, should share, before I move on, I won Professional Builder of the Year 3 times, and I won Franchisor of the Year a couple of times. So my own experience, I'm sharing from you my real life experience about how to differentiate your business and take price off the table. But if you can't find this is a 12-month journey for many of you if you've missed the awards this year. So let's think of something you can do right now to improve, to build confidence in your niche.
Align yourself with marketing influencers, so for example, be a HIA member or have a membership with someone.
Yeah, great. Yeah. I'll definitely have that on that list. So be so we'll call that brand alignment. So if you're a small brand, you use other more established and recognised brands. So if I can put HIA member on my bumper bar, people mightn't recognise my brand, but they recognise the HIA brand. Oh, he's a HIA member, must be a good builder. Very, very good. What about this? Here we are in Adelaide, and we're having to talk about business improvement, and we're talking marketing right now and some of the game changers that are working in marketing, and everyone's having a great time. Say hi, everyone. Yeah. Who's doing that? Who's doing that on site every day? Anyone? Yeah, I know. No.
We post a few photos, but don't do the live movies.
We do time lapses.
Yep.
That's longer. Let's say visual, but no, we don't do live updates.
Look, I'm going to say to you right now that everything, our next generation of consumers are making choices with what they see online. The people that will buy off you in 3, 4, 5, even 10 years' time, they want to see you showing them video. I mean, let's start with photos, but better still video. You need to be getting the video out and talking to your customers about what you're doing and why you're doing it and how you're doing it well. Video educational marketing is the game changer right now for this industry. Yeah, you're nodding, but you're not doing. So,
We used to, and we haven't.
yeah. I want you, look, it's like anything. If you're not seeing fruit immediately, don't despair. You have to build up momentum with this stuff. You end up with a library of fantastic stuff. Remember that the point of the video is to educate the market about why I do things in my niche and build confidence in me. So you see a lot of nonsense video that's not building any confidence in anyone. You don't drop video if it doesn't work, you get better at video because this is the marketplace. Who's got children in the room that are 15? I do. This is it. There's no other environment that decisions are made. It's all here. So,
You don't even need to be 15, more 11-year-olds like that.
okay, yep. Now, in 5 years' time, well, 10 years' time potentially, but somewhere between 5 and 10 years' time, my 15-year-old is a first home buyer. If we as business owners haven't have mastered video marketing, we're going to be left behind in that space. And when I talk about video marketing, I'm talking about the whole social media environment. So let's just do a little survey of what's going on in that space at the moment. Who's seen what Chippy Chick's done in the last 6 months?
Sorry?
Anyone know what Chippy Chick is? Yeah, Chippy Chick. Chippy Chick.
I'm not.
No, that's all right. But I'm going to challenge you that if you want to take the next step in your journey, you need to go there. Chippy Chick has gone from complete obscurity to Toyota. I think it's Toyota gave her a ute to drive around in the space of 6 months. She's gone from complete obscurity in the industry to a celebrity with Instagram in about 6 months. Now, whoever is competing with her in her market, she's she's just taken the prize off them in 6 months by her success on social media. Does anyone know anyone that's owning that space in Adelaide right now because they're doing well on social media in the building industry?
So is Chippy Chip not here?
Chippy Chip's a Melbourne
Oh.
carpenter. Do you know her, Danny? Having a look, yeah. Who knows of Three Birds Renovations in Sydney? Okay, now we're talking. Is there a Three Birds Renovations equivalent in Adelaide? Why the hell not? One of you needs to own this space. In 6 to 12 months' time, you could just take the market. You could just take it. All they have done is look beautiful online and mind a vein of gold. Now, what is Three Birds Renovations vein of gold? We actually mentioned it when we went around the room. It's high-end renos.
The styling element to it, I think that's.
Of course. But there's a very strategic word, sets them apart. No one can touch them. What have you got that will set you apart, that will allow you to mine your vein of gold? The whole thing has been achieved on social media. Anyone in this room could do it in their niche if they're prepared to step up to it. If that hasn't happened in Adelaide right now, do you think there's not wealthy doctors' wives in Adelaide that want high-end renos? And they're around shopping the market on price because you're not giving them any differentiation. You've got to own the space if you want to mind your own of God. Build massive confidence. There are others that I think we've used enough examples there. Please start video marketing. Awards, I think these two actually belong together in some ways because the awards and the alignment of your brand with recognisable brands, similar process. What else can we do? I'll show you one here if I can. This is my franchisee on the south coast of New South Wales.
And as you can see, there's a lot happening, a lot of things to look out for, and whether it's an extension or renovation or a new build, it's always worthwhile knowing what you need to know to get it done. Because of that, I've teamed up with another builder, Pete Smith from Niche Building, and we're going to put together 3 information nights. Both Pete and I have been in the industry for a long time, and we like to have clients informed. So what we want to do is just put this free night on, let people know things to look out for, things to be wary of, explain what happens in a contract so you're not caught unawares, what to select in a builder, questions to ask, what to look for in a new place or a new block of land. So all those sort of things that could help you on the way. It's absolutely obligation free. We're happy to have anyone come along. There's no pressure to build with us at all, and we'd love to see you there on the night. Hopefully you can learn something, and Pete and I will be happy to answer any questions you've got.
Who's running an information night on their niche in their community, educating their clients about their product? Yeah? You've done one?
Yeah, and the team's ready to go, mate.
Great.
We've also done something
Results?
online as well, not in person, but we've done a couple of things online.
Yeah. Info nights, educational being the focus. Now, I'm seeing business owners that do this. Remember, the fruit of this is eaten in time. Mark does these info nights. He does a couple every year, and teams up with another builder. Says this is how you do planning and building your dream home. So there's a book Mark's put together, The Insider's Guide to Building Your Dream Home. So he hands that out on the night. He stands in front of the room and talks. He has about this sort of number, 10 to 15 there every info night. He stands there with no agenda other than to educate people how to do it well. He has another builder that's non-competitive, so another builder in a different niche. And they share. They talk, they drink coffee, a couple of hours, they go home. 3, 6, 9, 12 months later, those people that want what Mark's got when he stands in front of them and gives them a quote for the solution that he has, he's head and shoulders above any competitor because he's already established his authority in that space. He's done that with no agenda, he's done that as a service to his community, and no one can touch him at that point. So I encourage you, Mark signs on average a contract every week. He has his current business goal is to double his turnover this financial year, and he's well on track to achieve that. But he's putting the effort in, he's building credibility through info nights. So info nights, you could add other types of educational marketing to that, but you need to think, how can I educate my market that I am the specialist, I'm the authority in this space? Once you can do that, you can completely revolutionise your marketing. So you need to think, am I coming in front of my consumers as the professor or the dishwasher? Now, this analogy's come from, it's come from a lecturer going in front of a university group of students, and in one lecture being introduced as the dishwasher in the cafeteria, and in the other lecture being introduced as to what he actually was, which is a professor in that space, and measuring the response and engagement of the students. Now, students will always respond more positively to someone that they think is a specialist and authority in that marketplace. Whereas if you come in with no authority, and which most of us do because we haven't established authority in that thing, people only shopping on price. So if you're having a lot of issue with people pushing back on price, it's because you haven't built your authority well enough over the time leading up to that transaction. So when you think marketing, think, how am I establishing my authority? And you put the energy into that space, you will become the specialist. Now, I broke my shoulder recently. I've been a tradesman and builder for many years, and I go and do the what some people think is the inevitable. I fell off my own roof at home. I was on the roof trying to clean my windows on a 2-story place and being very sloppy with my safety, and I paid the price and fell off the roof and landed on my concrete driveway at the front and hit the ground with my left elbow, and it had the effect of smashing all the bones in my left shoulder. Now, I am thankful that I'm not here in a wheelchair today, but what I'm saying is, when I needed the surgery on my shoulder to have that reconstructed, did I go to my local GP or did I go to the specialist? Now, most of us are marketing ourselves as the generalist, the GP. We have to charge a defined rate because there's no specialty. As soon as you're the cardiologist, the surgeon, the specialist, you charge whatever the hell you like. And if I can shift your mindset no other way today except to say, become the specialist, mine your vein of gold, and do that for the rest of your time in this industry, you will have financial outcomes that are far, far different to what you'd otherwise have. Think about what I can become the specialist in building industry and reap the financial rewards of that process. Follow one course until successful, take your team with you, and demonstrate your expertise. We'll look at a couple of other examples of this. Of course, once you've defined what your specialty is, I need you to be everywhere. So let's think. When I say be everywhere, where is everywhere? Let's go back to some of the basics here. Has everyone got site signs? Got site signs? Please have site signs. Your sites, I don't care if you're a builder or a trade-based business, you need to have a sign wherever you're working. People need to see that. So we want site signs. We want uniforms. We want car graphics. That's the starting point. Now, I'm going to say office/display, but only when the budget can handle it. Don't go there prematurely, and you might have to pull away from that if there's a market downturn. But for some of you, that will be the next step to get to your 4-minute mile. If you're stuck at a certain level, build a display home or open an office if the budget can handle it, and watch yourself push to the next level. Quite achievable if you do that. Social media, yes, you must do that. Don't try and master it yourself. You need to get a consultant to do that in most situations. If you're a startup business, yes, you need to create those environments and do what you can with the time you have. But as your business grows, get a consultant. It's like the bookkeeping and the trade work and so on. You need to get a specialist in that space helping you with social media. And then we've written a list already of some of the other very, very important things. But you need to be highly visible. The winner is usually and often the best known, not the best. Hear me on this. Is Coke the best drink out there? Well, there's lots of dispute around that, but
Not for your health.
often it's the first person in the space and the best known product that wins, not the best product. Same for your businesses. If you're early into that niche, it's quite hard for competitors to get to you. If you pursue it and become the specialist, you can get a lot of authority quickly, and you become untouchable and you become the best known. Now I'm saying to you, I don't want you to be bad at what you do, but I'm saying marketing, it's often the best known, not the best. And if you think about the marketplace, you will accept that that is a fact. It is the best known that has a lot of success. How much influence do you exert in your market today? Here's some of Chippy Chick's stats, which for those of you that don't know her, it's an interesting example. So 553 likes, that was October last year, and 33,000 likes there. Did you see what her likes, like her stats are there when you just jumped on her?
Over 100k.
Over 100,000 followers, yeah. Now when Chippy Chick goes to a building company, she's got that much authority, she can do whatever she likes. And I'd be nervous if I'm competing with her in that market right now, what she's done. And very, very achievable for every one of you. Here's the one we haven't touched on, which we must. Reviews. It was in the top 4, but we missed that one. Who's got good online reviews for their business? Great. What platforms are you using?
You got someone, please.
Google, Facebook,
Yeah, Google, Facebook.
Amazon. That's
Okay.
all it.
Yeah, no, that's good. No one believes your website. People believe 20% of what you say about yourself. They believe 80% of what other people say about you. So you can use it on your website, but you need to feed it in live from other environments. So product review is a great one. People believe product review because it's quite challenging to put a review up there. Now, for those of you that haven't done anything with reviews, let's think about some psychology here. Who's motivated to give you a review?
Either someone that's jacked off, or
Just pause there, because that's the only person that's motivated to give you a review. Someone that's jacked off. They are the only people that are motivated, because we are all egocentric. We only care about ourselves, mostly. I'm sorry to have such a blanket statement, but the only way for a consumer to get back at you potentially who's not happy is to give you a very unhappy online review. So for most of us with growing businesses, the chances of